Go this way to get home.
All right.
Just right through here.
Okay.
Hold it, wait a minute. Hey, man.
How much money you got, man?
Hey, we're just going home. Leave us alone. Come on, let's go.
Cut you back off. Yeah. Get him, Andy. Get him. Oh, man, what you doing, man?
Dad! Brooke, come on, let's get out of here now. Come on, quick. Come on, hurry, quick. You're alone. You're out on the street. Someone is coming for you, and he has a knife. What do? Welcome to Nine Dragon Baguazhang for street combat. I'm Captain John Painter. The techniques we'll be working with in this video are not based on classical Chinese martial art. They're based on the methods I've used on the street for over 20 years as a defensive tactics instructor for law enforcement and also as a professional bodyguard. Let's get started.
This tape deals with a very dangerous subject, defending your life against an assailant armed with an edged weapon. We will examine the various types of cutting weapons used, from large to small knives and even broken bottles. This is a very serious subject. You should know that in real life, nothing works 100% of the time. And when faced with an armed enemy, and there are no guarantees, the best concept is to run. The street is not the movies or a martial arts school. The principles and methods shown here should be practiced hundreds of times with a training partner and only used when escape is absolutely impossible. Never train with real weapons. Always use soft, flexible weapons and wear eye protection and body protection at all times. Let's get started looking at defensive tactics for knife and edged weapons.
The really best defense that you can have against an edged weapon of any kind is not to be there when the attack comes. Now, in this tape, we're going to show defenses against large, small, and medium-sized knives and even broken bottles. I want you to remember, never practice with a real weapon. Never practice with a metal weapon. For very little expense, you can go to most stores and purchase a rubber practice or training blade of some kind. These blades are very safe and easy to use and not very expensive. If you can't find this kind of a weapon, you can go to your local toy store and you can find toy or play training weapons. Or even take a piece of foam and make yourself a knife. But never ever use a real blade or a piece of metal. Someone can get seriously hurt. Also, when you are practicing and training, make sure the person doing the defensive maneuvers wears some kind of strong eye protection, because even the rubber blade itself can cause damage if it touches the eye. So practice slowly, practice safely, and practice carefully. Now we want to talk about distance and timing. When we are defending against an edged weapon, we will call this the RYG, red, yellow, green concept. Red, yellow, green refers to a traffic light situation. Red is, of course, usually stop, but we will change the color red to mean danger. When you are in the red zone, that is where the person can cut you immediately without you being able to defend yourself against it. When you are in the yellow zone, this means that you are in a place in which he can attack you, and it will take him at least 1 or 2 steps to get to you, so you may have enough time for some kind of defensive maneuver. In the green zone, you are able to get out of the way quickly and to run or to go for a weapon of your own should you choose to use one. Now, the weapon the man uses will determine the length and size of these zones. Here on the table, I've laid out practice weapons. These practice weapons are all designed so that we can work with them without being hurt. I'm going to use the goggles when we play. Even though we've done this many times, I still try to be safe when we practice and guard my eyes because they can't be replaced if someone makes a mistake. With a small knife, the RYG is rather compact. So if I give Michael a small blade here, then his ability to reach for me with the blade, I'm now in red. So he can reach me from here without having to take a step. He can even shift his body forward or back, and he can reach and cut me in many ways with the blade without me being able to counter him easily because I'm so close. So if I step back about one step outside of his length, I now have at least some kind of reaction time, so I am in the yellow zone. Yellow because to attack me, he has to take one step to get to me. And in that one step, I have some time to get off the line and begin to control whatever is happening. But when you're in red, you have very little time. It's almost impossible to stop him. Now, when I'm in green, it's very easy to avoid Michael because he can't get to me. I'm at a safe place behind the table or far away from him. This is the RYG concept or principle in working here. Now, Michael's energy for RYG, let me have this, okay, begin to extend as we extend the area of the knife. So, Mike, you're going to have to back up a little bit here now. So now, where I normally would have been yellow for me is actually red because Mike can reach me with the blade. So I have to extend that area to here and then farther out for green. Now I'm in the yellow area, you see, because he can take one step and he's to me, like so. This may seem a little bit rudimentary, but it is vital in learning to defend yourself against the blade because most of the things you find in knife defenses that are trained today really don't work very well in real combat. You have to understand distance and timing. Very important. Michael, let me see this one. We'll go to the big knife. This big knife or machete you will find carried, especially where I come from in Texas, often carried in trucks, and people have them. They don't necessarily walk around with them on the street, but they do have them in trucks and other conveyances. And in the big knife, now again, where I was in yellow is now again red. You see, it begins to expand. So now the yellow has to be here if I see that size of the knife, and I have to be able to move. Now he's moved into red by taking one step. Green would be, again, back here behind the table somewhere out of the way so that he can't get to me without taking one or two big swings. This is the RYG principle. The first thing to do when you can't run is to get out of the way. Getting out of the way means getting off the line. Now, by a line, I mean that, well, we'll take, for example, a straight line. Matt comes straight forward with a blade. That's a straight thrust. He's coming straight forward. The very first thing I do is try to get off the line. There are 4 places to get off the line, too, all right? The 4 places are left and right, back, or left and right, forward. So, in getting off the line, when Matt, step back just a little, please, when he thrusts, here, I can move to this side. This is getting off the line. Now, I have moved to an excessive distance getting off the line just to illustrate it. All right, normally, I would only move when Matt comes to here about this far. Next is to get off the line to the inside when he thrusts here. Again, I'm moving back and away. This is really not the best angle because at this angle, he can follow up with another cut. So when I try to get off the line from here to this side, to the back, go. See, now he can cut again. So that put me in red, so that's not a good angle. If I come here and back up and get off the line to here, again, he can cut at me very quickly, so that's not necessarily a good angle. There's no such thing as a really good angle. What you have to do is use your strategy and understand where to move. If you choose to get off the line backing up, you've got to be ready to come immediately back in or to run. Now, getting off the line to the inside means that when he comes here, I move to the inside. This is an inside line. My energy is moving in, and I'm going to use later on, as we'll see, the wedge and other concepts to unbalance him. This is just the first step in getting off the line, the first step. All right? I can also move to the inside when he thrusts from here to get off the line. See? This is called moving in or moving out and getting off the line. In Baguazhang, the circle is very important. Even in the concept of getting off the line, we can do that. So, we're going to talk about moving in using the circular stepping patterns that we took in the earlier tapes. Terry, you come out here for a second, okay? We've got our practice bottle here. Just so we're going to do our barroom concept here. Terry's got his broken bottle. When he thrusts at the face here, or at me, I should be able to roll if I have the correct stepping patterns down so I get off the line. Now, the closer that I can get, the better. I know what we want to do is be as far away as possible. But in order to control him so he can't get at me again, I have to get off the line. So when he thrusts here, I have to come as close as possible so my body literally rolls down his body right here. This is going to allow me to put a lot of energy into his body and send him falling away from me, or throw him away from me when he comes. One important point there. When you're rolling away, once you're here, you're out of the problem of the weapon for just a few seconds. So at that point, you're going to have to unbalance him. Now, don't lean into him to unbalance him, because if he happens to move, then you fall yourself and you lose balance. This is why you have to develop the early concepts of walking the circle, spinning and turning, and keeping the head and body as upright as possible so you have central equilibrium, central balance, and you don't lose your balance because you gave it away to him, you see? So in rolling in here, we want to roll in and begin to unbalance him with the movement. Now we can also roll to the inside. So when we're here, he can come this way and we start rolling to the inside. Here I'm coming up with that mountain palm again. Not looking at application right now. I'm simply looking at avoiding the weapon. So rolling inside means coming here and getting off the line. Here's that shoulder again, hitting him to knock him away from me. Rolling and spinning to the inside can be a very effective technique for avoiding a thrust with a weapon.
Hey! Whoa!
All movements are circular, no matter whether they're a thrust or a slice or a chopping motion. Mike, you got a little practice knife there? Okay, first, a thrust is circular because when he comes forward with it, his arm has to come upward, like so. Now, I didn't get off the line here, so I'm going to get stabbed. That's a circular motion. As a circular, do it really slow, Mike. The circular motion, it can be guided. I'm just guiding his hand here to show you it can be guided. I would never touch his wrist here to block. Always here, this part of the body. I'm just holding here to show you the lifting potential. It can be guided upward. It's a circle. A downward motion slicing at my neck. This also is a circle. You see? This is a circle. With someone coming at me with some kind of an edged weapon, I don't want to interrupt his circle. I don't want to try to stop it, because the first time I throw a block up here with a circle, I'm going to get cut. See? He may change it. Or he may cut right across my arm. When I come here, he may slice my hand off. I want to be very careful about that. I'm not going to try to block him. All right? If he cuts from the inside out, from here, when he cuts this way, again, I don't want to try to block him, because he'll instantly feel that change and cut me. What I want to do is use my skill in blending with him so that by the time he realizes that he has missed, it's too late. You see? Now, this is using his circles, not mine. A little bit of aside here. Mike, if you'll step back here for just a second. We hadn't planned to do this. Just step back here. If I try to escape by backing up and I don't have any kind of a plan, no counterattack, no plan, no method, Mike's just going to cut me. He may miss me the first couple of times. Just stab me, Mike. And eventually, I'm cut. See? Eventually, I'm down. I'm slit. I'm open. It's all over. Without a plan, I've got a problem. If I understand my bagua and I understand my concepts, when Mike comes to stab me, there isn't a second technique. There's nothing after the first move. I have to know how to control him, how to work with him. You okay? Great. By now, you're probably getting the idea that you need to take all of the principles and concepts and practice them separately first, and then begin to link them together. This is the best way to train. If you put everything together and link it, then you'll understand what goes into defending against a knife, step by step by step. What we're going to examine now is called closing the gap and redirecting. Now, the gap is the distance between you and the other person. This is the RYG we've previously discussed. Once we are closing on each other, if I choose to run, you saw what happens. If I choose not to run, I have to go to him. I can't wait on him. I have to go to him. This is called closing the gap. Matt is standing over here. I don't see that he's got a blade on. So I don't know that he's a threat. He looks like just anybody standing on the street. But he has a blade. The things that will be the telltale signs of him having a blade will be the way he moves his body. So I'll put on my practice gear here, even though we're going to go slowly right now. I want you to remember, always wear the eye gear to protect yourself, even at slow, moderate, or fast speeds. All right? Matt, now you've got a blade, all right? I don't know that. I'm just walking down the street. And suddenly I see you begin to reach back and start moving in an aggressive manner towards me. Now here, I have to begin viewing all of you. I can't focus right here. If I focus here, this makes me freeze up. Either fear or just the action of looking directly at that point. I'm not sung. I'm not relaxed. I'm not at peace. I'm going to get ready for action, but I don't want to get my energy, or as the Chinese would say, I don't want my chi to come up too high. I want it to drop instead of jump up. So to close the gap, the minute I see you going there, you come with an action, I have to move in also. Now as I move in, I'm going to be redirecting. This is called closing. I'm redirecting and closing your body. This is what I want to do to control you, and you'll notice your balance is already going. See? So I'm going to move from there. That will be the first step. But after that, I'm going to be striking and disarming. But the first step is to close the gap as you redirect his arm. This is part of the wedge principle, too. Now, also we have upholding. So when Matt is coming and he's thrusting high, the palm can lift him upward as well, and again starts unbalancing him and moving him off. And again, this is not the complete technique, only one part of it, closing the gap. So we have upholding. Now we also have opening, which we'll do here with mountain palm. As he comes in with the thrust again, the mountain palm opening comes here. This one reaching into the inside, sourcing his shoulder, knocking him off balance. This is part of the control mechanism. See? We could use the earth palm. Any palm can be used. Let's say he comes in here, we'll do the opening again with the earth palm. Can be knocking him off balance, you see? Controlling him. Not everybody thrusts. People slice, cut, and use the knife in various ways. Now, Matt, sometimes they'll cut from the inside out or from the outside in. The outside in would be coming across from here in a circular cut. Closing the gap means that I have to get in here. It's going to be very hard, especially if he's a good knife fighter and he keeps his blade close to him. He's not going to take a long, big movement. So I can't get around his blade this way. Not easily, because I would have to go so far out and then recover and come back in. He's already recovered and he's coming back. So I need to be able to go inside with a tactic which gets his attention and then begin to disarm him and then move away from him. Okay? This is called closing the gap for a circular move. Now, Matt, if you come across the other way, I want to go to this side. I don't want to try to go around you or pull back because you're simply going to come here and start slicing and dicing. Okay? So when you come here, again, I want to close the gap. See? This is going to be a strike somewhere in here or here and a disarm, and I'm going to take something out of here. You see? Closing the gap means you've got to move in. This is something that's very difficult to overcome. The fear of moving in. It's a real problem that you need to practice with a partner over and over again. Try getting in there, moving in, getting over the fear of jumping back when he comes at you. Every time you jump back when he comes at you, you have to overcome that backward momentum to go in, and you lose valuable seconds that you could be using to counterattack and save your life. Very important to understand this. May I see your knife? Good. The weapon is not as important as the man. This weapon can't do anything to you lying here on the ground. It's the man using it that's dangerous. It's only the instrument of his destruction. You need to control him and his mind, not his weapon. First control his mind, then worry about controlling what he's trying to do with the weapon. In talking about redirecting, we mean that we want to guide his hand. Now, Terry, let's bring your knife out here and talk about redirecting. Redirecting means that we circle him one way or the other, either across, up, or to the outside, but we never oppose the force. However, we must never try to redirect, of course, the blade, because that's silly, you'll get cut, or redirect the wrist. If I redirect the wrist, it's very easy for him to just continue and come in, or even fold his elbow here, strike me this way, and cut the body. He can even do multiple and double strikes because he has full control. He can strike me first with his elbow, bang, and then cut me with the body. Slice or cut or dice or whatever he wants to do. If I redirect at the wrist on the inside, same problem. He's going to again cut the body and start slicing and dicing. So I don't want to get in this close and then cut here and give him a time to control me with this blade. What I want to do is try to redirect and control and neutralize from a space from here to here on the elbow, right about this position from here to here. Because when I control him from here to here, his whole body and the blade moves. When I control him from just the wrist, just the arm moves and he can circle around. So it's very important to use this, and when you do, use this elbow area, make sure that it's pushing whenever you do it back into him, into the spine itself, so it moves his whole body. This is get off the line, move the spine concept again, but it's moving his whole body. Another place to redirect him is the shoulder girdle area here, to press inward and begin turning. This again turns the blade and turns the body. Then you simply have, if he comes back again with the elbow, again, the elbow to redirect in. It's best to use the elbow and the shoulder, either pushing in, sideways, or back, or redirect here, pushing in, lifting up, see, or pushing across, or even pushing in a downward direction. Never, ever go here. This is the mistake, because he will start cutting me. Okay? Thank you for that cutting experience. Neutralize, counter, control, and disarm. These principles are the best way I know to take the knife attack under your own control. Mike, when you come up, bring your blade with you here. Put on my glasses. Now, when the arm is extended or cutting, we want to remove the blade. A lot of times, if it's a large blade like this, there'll be some part of it projecting below here. This can give us some advantage. One way to relieve you of the blade is to be able to make the hand relax its grip. Anything that I do where I have to hold on here or try to lock and hold and wrest it from you is going to cause a real problem. I'll go back to what we were playing with in the previous tape on Chin-Na, see, using the mind control situation, the mind blink situation, so that I can show you if you're holding onto this knife very strongly, and I just simply put my hands here and then touch here by striking. Let's use the mountain palm on the back of the hand, this way. The blade will come out. It comes out not because we are going for any kind of power, but because we are causing the mind to change its thought process from the blade grip to the arm here. You see? This is how it's easy to wrest it from your grip. It could be the earth palm coming up. It could be coming right here, and it'll come out. See? Any of these things will help to do that. Going back to the Chin-Na tape, we can see that putting you into a wrist lock of some kind will help you to relieve your pressure on the knife itself. This type of thing, though, I don't often rely on because it's very dangerous. If it doesn't work the first time, you're in close. He's got the weapon. Big trouble. See, I prefer to get in fast and get out fast. This is, to me, the best method. So relieving you of the blade is coming to the inside or outside and striking here, striking your body in some way, striking your body in some way, and at the same moment that I'm striking your body, relieving you of the knife. See? This is called neutralize, counter, control, and disarm. Neutralize meaning I neutralize the threat of the blade. It's thrusting at me. I go to one position moving in. That's neutralize. Counter means that I now attack to strike and cause pain of some kind. Control means that I'm controlling the arm with my opposite hand. And disarm means that I'm sliding down to slip the weapon out of the way. Neutralize, counter, control, and disarm. If you follow this sequence, it's not too hard to get the knife out of his hand. However, when you're using NCCD, the 3 steps have to be done as quickly as possible. If there's much of a lag time between the counter and the control and disarm, he's got hold of the knife and he's got you. If there's very little time between the two of them, then the blade is gone and you're not in a threat zone as much as you were before. This is neutralize, counter, control, and disarm. Just because he has a weapon in his hand, like a knife, does not mean that that's the only weapon that he has. We often forget that people who are trained to fight with a knife also are trained in many other ways of defending themselves. So if Matt is well trained in some kind of martial art or boxing or something like that, when he comes with the knife and I stop him and control him, if I don't counter, if I don't strike him, he's got other weapons. He's got palm, knees, kicks. He's able to move all sorts of things. Show me. There. See? He can fight me with the rest of his body. You see? So I have to control him by that counter movement, which at that impact takes your thoughts away from any weapon you might be using. Because at that one moment, you're trying to stand up. For a second, your brain is blinking off, and you're fighting off the shock of being hit for just a second. You're trying to regain your balance, and that's when I have to completely take you down, counter, and disarm you, you see, when I've done that. By using that, I can prevent all these other weapons. I would never give anyone the advice of going up against someone armed with a knife without any weapons at all. This would not be intelligent. So it's your choice whether you want to carry a weapon to defend yourself on the street. You have to check your local laws, and you know what you want to do and how far you want to go. If you have to use something, you might have to improvise a weapon with things you have around you. Whatever weapon you might use, if it's not a firearm or another knife, if it's just a common everyday object, you can use it to distract and sometimes even to create a great deal of pain. Let's look, for example, here with Terry, whom we've now put in his safety goggles because of what we're about to do, at the idea of using like the 9-cell maglite or flashlight. This is one commonly type carried by police. This is a practice version, which is soft. It still stings a little bit, but it's soft foam. So we'll use this maglite idea. Let's say I've gone outside, or I'm walking somewhere, or I've just gotten out of my car. I may have this with me, or I've gone to check something outside. And the guy comes up. I'm going to use the light. Usually I'll keep the light over in my other hand, the left hand over here, so that I can shine it. And this way, if I have my firearm or another weapon I can go for, or this strong hand is actually free. So I can keep the light here, or place it down on my side here and shine it this way, so I have the body of the light back here to use like a club. In this position, if I walk outside and I see somebody, he pulls the knife on me, then I close the gap and strike his arm here at this point. I'll immediately from here begin following up with strikes to the body and strikes to the knee, see, in order to stop his hostilities and then get out of there. The idea is to close the gap and disarm him with the weapon.
Give me the keys. Give me the keys.
Okay, hold on. Here. Using the flashlight again in this posture, if I have it in this hand, this is my weak hand, so my strong hand is forward. If he's going to come with a horizontal cut, it might be one where it's even short. Again, striking here will help him to do this. Then I can strike the face, strike the knee, strike the back of the knee to put him down, and move away. Now, is this bagua? Yes. I am using the earth palm to strike him, just holding the weapon. So when his knife comes forward slowly here, I'm using the earth palm to hit the wrist, to hit the bones in the hand, here, like so. I'm using the earth palm down to strike the knee. 1, 2. See, I'm beginning to use this as a weapon. Change it here. Use it from here. 1, 2. Again, earth palm, see? It's using it as a weapon that way. If you can get to a larger weapon than he has, and you can't get away, then you should always use it. Only a fool goes against someone with a superior weapon or someone who has no choice. Try not to be either one. Common everyday objects can be used. In this little instance here, I'm just holding a common soft drink can. I'm walking down the street or I'm outside and I'm suddenly accosted with someone who draws a knife. Immediately throw the can at him and start the takeaway. This is very important. Use that as a distraction. Now I've got the blade, he's got a face full of Coke or whatever it was I threw at him, and I'm out of there. Even an empty can will work, but a full one, of course, has a lot more impact. I'm trying to disarm him in terms of the movement, and I've got to close that gap right after I've made the distraction. Just throwing the can at him and then running away doesn't guarantee he's not going to recover and start chasing you down the street. So throw it at him, get in there, attack, counterattack, whatever you can, or run past him and run quickly away. And if you do happen to try to run away or escape, make as much noise, yell, scream, whatever you need to do to attract attention. Even if somebody's not coming to your aid, people will at least look and they will see the attack, and someone may come to your aid or help you out or call the authorities. Always remember, the bad guy doesn't want to be seen. So if you can make enough noise to attract attention when you're escaping or running away, or even in the middle of the fight, if you can yell, "Stop, don't do that, don't hurt me," making that kind of a noise will attract attention, and this will do a lot to dissuade an attack, sometimes even before it happens.
How about that wallet?
Using common everyday objects can be a really good idea. Could be throwing a pair of car keys if you don't have anything else, although I don't suggest that because you don't want to throw away the keys to your car if you have to make a quick getaway. But anything, an ashtray, a pillow, anything you can throw to distract his attention is very important. Then close the gap and try to disarm the attacker as quickly as possible. Closing that gap using the NCCD principle. Very good idea. Here we're going to use just a common newspaper or magazine, tabloid type newspaper magazine. Terry, you're going to cut my throat with this, so I'm going to be opening my newspaper and you're going to cut. I'm standing here and then I see you coming. I'm going to throw this here, start counterattacking you. Now my movement immediately comes in. We took you down. The knife has gone flying off. I'm not worried about it, and I'm out of there. Okay? The distraction principle here is simply using the paper to cause you to brain blink for a second, to stop, to jerk. It's in that jerking moment that I'm going to come in and I'm going to go for you. The mistake would have been, had you had a blade here like this, your mistake would have been, or my mistake would have been, for me to have thrown this at you as you were coming at me and then hesitated to see what happened. You see? If I'd hesitated, you'd have continued and I'd have gone down. But in using the paper, not hesitating when you come at me here, throwing it into you immediately allows me to cause that brain blink for just a second, and I've got the blade or it goes flying off. I really don't care as long as you still don't have it. That's all that really matters. Okay? This is using common objects to distract in knife defense.
What's the matter with you, man? What are you doing? It's as big as a house. You backed into me. You backed out right out of there, man. What do you think you're doing? Push on me. Okay, man, you asked for it now. You bit off a heck of a lot more than you can deal with.
Now, to illustrate how these things work, I'm going to do the techniques at the combat speed first. Then I'm going to break it down so you can see exactly what went on, all right, as we go through it. We'll try to break it down and show the principles. Although at combat speed, everything is not always precise and exact. As long as it works and it moves through the energy flow that you're looking for, you use the energy, the jing, the circle walking, the closing the gap, the NCCD, all of these principles, the redirection, they'll all come into play now. So, Michael, what you're going to do is play like you're a wild man from somewhere, and you're going to slice me up with this machete, okay? So I'm going to put this on here, protect myself, get over here. We're going to play with, let's play with earth palm, okay? So we'll use that idea. I want you to slice my throat or something with that and come fast speed. Okay. This is the earth palm. This is how we use it. Let's break it down.
Now, I want to also point out that I've done this for quite a while, and Michael and I have never rehearsed these things before today. So this is not something we planned out over and over. Most of the things you're seeing on this tape are happening as you see them. They are not planned. They're not pre-rehearsed. I'm having to use this for real against him in the way I would normally try to do it on the street. When I'm using this movement first, as Michael comes down, I'm coming in here, getting off the line. Then I'm beginning at this point to step in to counter. My counter in this instance is the earth palm. It's slamming into his body or his face and his chest here, this way. The earth palm is slamming into him. I'm moving away from you so the camera can get a better angle. In reality, I'm thrusting directly in his body and hitting him like this. And at the same time, my hand is sliding down here and attaching itself to the weapon. Coming down, attaching to the weapon. There's the brain blink. I take the weapon away, see? If this were an action movie, I'd turn around and go back for him, you see, like this. But in reality, I want to hang on to the thing and run away. I don't want to stay there. That's how I'm going to use this principle of the earth palm against the machete in this instance, okay? Continuing with our look at the machete or the large knife, if it's coming in a horizontal cut, it can come at the neck, it can come at the body like so. Let's suppose you're going to chop into the ribs, and you're going to give me a good full power chop right into the ribs. I want to use now this spinning concept. Again, we're going to get the earth idea of being soft and spinning, okay, to control the weapon. So get back here, you're going to run at me about right there, not too far, about right there, and give me a full power cut to the ribs, okay? Good. Now, I don't have to come out with the blade. All I have to do is get it out of his hand. That's the important thing. So, with the blade here, as you move, I should blend with you. When you come in, I blend in here. Again, striking or hitting, but this time not so hard. Even if your hand comes up to block you, I don't care about that because I'm going to slam your hand right into you, you see? With his earth palm or with mountain palm, either one, it's going to slam your hand into you. See how your head jars? That gives you this rocking position. I might be hitting your body, your face, or hitting your arm. Doesn't make any difference. As long as I get the spine to jar and it shakes you like that, then it's going to go in here. Then as I come in, this hand automatically sliding down and taking the blade, or in this instance, I didn't grab it all the way, I just threw it to the side, and you get hurled off. All right? Using this spin, entering, neutralize, counter, control, disarm. You see? Close the gap. Very important. For a medium thrust to the belly, let's see how the body reacts. Now, Matt, use a medium thrust, and again, I'm going to flow. We're going to work at what we call a speed 2, not a super fast speed, so that nobody gets hurt in this, okay? Okay, that was a medium thrust. This time I didn't take the blade away from you, but I projected you far enough away that I can run. As you came in, I got off the line, went for the head, brought the blade down so it would miss my body and my arm, carried it back up. Now I'm controlling it here near the elbow. Pumping down with the earth palm here. Spinning you over and back takes you away. I'm not really worried about the blade at that point. So as Michael moves in, I'm going to flow with him. The only thing I'm interested in is getting him out of there. See, your knife went way over there, Mike. So you can grab it. The action comes from moving in with you, lopping down, taking your upward energy and not really intercepting it, but as it's coming up, turning it on a circle that carries the curve back, coming here, and then throwing you over, you see? This is the way we'll work the technique. Again, these techniques are not things that we are actually rehearsing. We're just doing them spontaneously. Now, Mike, with an uppercut type movement, okay? You're going to move in to cut me. All right? In that technique, we used the upward angle for you so that slowly as you came in, we carried the energy up, riding the body up, applied the stance,
moves in, and the jing takes you down. See? So we're using your energy there, all right? These are just some ways of playing with knife attacks. Again, when you get in really close, he can get you before you can get him, unless you know the secret of dealing with the 3-to-1 law, which we're going to talk about in just a few minutes. Mike's going to try a shoulder to thigh slice now to see if we can work one of the 9 dragon tactics on it, see how we can control him. Mike's going to cut across here with a close-in type cut with a medium-sized knife. Okay, Mike. Okay. As we moved in to disarm you, we came in here slapping the side of the head. This would be normally popping his ear with my palm. In this case, I'm coming in with a mountain palm, popping his ear. And as I come here, my hand will attach at this position and then slide down. Again, using the tiger's mouth or dragon's mouth, depending on what system you're practicing. In 9 dragon, we call it dragon mouth, to catch the edge of the blade and knock it out of his hand, while simultaneously twisting the body to throw him down and around. See, this is the action that we get. There's a downward spiraling action, you see, of the body like this. This is really spiraling the energy up from the ground into the hip and translating it then down into the hand. So you'll see this downward and upward action, okay? This is a really good technique to use because the principles are very clear here. Moving into the use of the thigh to shoulder kind of cut where he's slicing upward here, this way. Okay, we're going to try blending with this and see what happens here, Michael. You're going to go thigh shoulder there. All right? Controlling you with this is a matter of following that circle. So as you come up, getting past the blade so it can't hurt me, okay? That's getting off the line, coming in here. My body literally running into you slightly. Now, I'm not slamming into you, but it's enough to jar you, see? And then, blending with you, this is wrapping around the moon. Now, this hand here is going to be controlling the knife so that you can't continue slicing up. But really, when I hit you here, boom, this way, it's going to jar your head enough, it's going to take your mind off the knife. So as you slice up, moving in, controlling that blade and staying away from it, you see? Here we went right into the lake palm, rolling the ball exercise we did in an earlier tape, all right? Terry has his knife here in a very dangerous position for knife fighters called the reverse grip. You'll see this in people who really know what they're doing and want to carve you a great deal with the edge of the blade. We'll use the practice knife here with a slicing action coming from one direction. So get prepared. Now again, we're not moving at full combat speed with these because normally in a knife technique, you want to hit him really hard and really fast. And I really don't want to hurt the people I like to work with, so I'm going to try to move at a moderate speed. Okay, in this tactic right here, I'm using wind palm. And as he comes in fact, wind palm just appeared. I had kind of thought maybe I'll use earth, but wind palm appeared, so that's what we used. As he came in, slow, I moved wind palm, moving in. Again, touching here, sliding down with the wind palm, and at the same time, striking here. Now, because I didn't want to hurt him, I struck right here on his chest. I would have struck here, at the neck, here, to stun the brain. So that was where I would normally strike. Coming in here, struck here, and as I moved down, my hand just simply chopped the blade to take it away. The two things happening almost exactly at the same time. Bang, here. And then, of course, the projection to push him away from me. This is one way of using this type of technique against a knife cut in the reverse hand. When you have someone come at you, if you have a moment, if they missed you the first time, maybe you saw it, you weren't ready to charge in, you had to move back. Once you move back, you've got to turn your backward motion into a forward action. So we're going to look at this when Terry's going to come in, make a slice, and make another one. We'll see what we can use here. Okay, Terry, about there. Now let's don't go combat speed here. Again, take it about normal speed so we can see what's going to happen. Okay, I'm too close to you, see, here. You start. All right? Now, what happened was, as I saw this movement, he's got his knife hidden by his arm. So I saw this something projecting down here. I didn't know what it was, but suddenly he came out with it, so I jumped back and I'm out of the way. And I jumped back at an angle. I did not jump straight back. See, jumping straight back would have given him an immediate cut. But not knowing what it was and not being sure, as he moved, I jumped back at an angle. From that angle now, I'm here. I'm not directly in front of him. So he's got to reverse it. I've got a little time. I moved in here checking the arm, not opposing it, checking it so that his energy is carrying it in this direction, you see, but not hitting it hard here. Suddenly I slam into him here. This shoulder stroke coming up from the back leg, boom, in dragon stance, shocks his head. You can see the head move when I shock it. At the same moment, my hand closes here on the knife blade, and that thrusts him away from me. And I'm left with the blade, or at least it's out of his hands. Okay, let me put this on here. Okay. Someone who is not well trained may take the blade, and we're using, again, a rubber training blade here. I want to make sure everybody understands that. Never train with real weapons. If he puts the knife here, says, give me all your money, or whatever he's going to say, he's holding the knife in this position. Now, this may seem like it's going to go against everything I've told you already, but it doesn't. When the knife is here, as long as he's waiting on me to make a fake move or a false move, I actually have the advantage. Now, if the knife is back here at this distance and he's waiting for me to make a move, he has the advantage. I'm going to tell you why. This is really a big secret that hasn't been shown very often. At this position, now, Matt, we've not rehearsed this, but I want to show this. Put it right up here. Now, you're not going to hurt me because it's a rubber knife, okay? But when you see me move, okay, I want you to thrust that blade all the way to the hilt into my chest as quickly as you possibly can. All right?
All right.
Now, Matt knows that when I move, that he's got to try to stab me. Did you try?
Yes, sir.
Now, I'm going to fake you sometimes, and I'm actually going to move. Like that. I just jerked my hands. I'm dead. You see?
Yes.
Now, again, just so you already know what's coming. When you think I'm going to move, stab me. The blade is gone. Why? Actually, Matt is younger and faster than I am. But the fact is, this is called the 3-to-1 law. The fact is that Matt is waiting to feel threatened. I already feel threatened. Now, while Matt is waiting to feel threatened, he's waiting to see me move. When he sees me move, he has to see it, realize it, and tell the muscle to react. That's 3 things. See, realize, react. I only have to do one thing that he cannot see, react. So I'm 2 steps ahead of you all the time in this position. See? That's called the 3-to-1 law. Now, in this position right here, still the same. See? Because I'm here and you have to still see it and react. All right? So you can try to stab from there and you can't do it either. See? Try it again. Right here. See? If I get the first move, you lose. This works in reverse when you're fighting. From a distance, however, and he's back here, now it changes. Because I have to close a gap. I have to close a distance. And if he's waiting for me to move, he will now see me move and be able to react faster. See? Like this, see? And I'm cut. So that is not good. Sometimes it's not a bad idea to say, oh, please, don't, you know. Don't hurt me. And get up even this close if you can't run away. Of course, if you can run away, do so. But if you can't and you get here, he's waiting for me to move. Then suddenly I move. And it's gone, you see. It doesn't matter how I move. If you're not extremely skilled in using the tiger mouth technique or the dragon mouth technique to take it away, then all you have to do from there is at least slap his arm so he moves. Don't slap the arm at the wrist. Again, slap it at the forearm because that jams his whole body, see? Notice how if I slap the wrist, his body hardly moves at all, so he can immediately counter and come back. And you don't stand there. I go past him because this is more confusing than running away in front of him where he could see me. So if I'm here and he's going to stab me if I try to move, I go here and I'm out of the way, see? And I'm running off. This is what we call the 3-to-1 law. I would say you only use this when there is no other option whatsoever. We've looked mostly at techniques using big knives and medium-sized knives. A lot of the people carrying knives who are well-schooled in their techniques and their methods are very good at deploying them very quickly, and many of them are quite small. It's been my experience that people who are well-trained in knife concealment and also in the knife tactics of the small knife are almost impossible to defeat when you come up against them without any other weapon in your hand. If I have my police baton, or I have a flashlight with a long handle, or I have a cane or a stick or even a firearm, I feel more comfortable. But getting in close to someone you may not even know they're armed. Terry is armed here with a knife, which is right here. Terry, demonstrate that. See how quickly this blade comes out? You might think, well, this little bitty blade isn't much, but that blade is enough to cut deeply enough into my arteries to cause me to bleed to death. He can kill me with a blade even this small. I've never yet met a martial artist who had a tactic that was really good against a knife this small, because he doesn't use it in a long thrust or a long technique. He'll use that blade up in here, very short and very, very small. See? Now, if he misses me on the first 1 or 2 moves, then yes, I may be able to do something. The most important thing I can tell you is, if you see he's going for his blade, he's got it there in his belt, you see it, you recognize it, and he's going for it, for all means, don't take some kind of a stance. See? We haven't talked about a Bagua ready stance, because in the 9-dragon system, there isn't one. All right? The signature Bagua stance that you see all the time is fine for walking the circle. It's great. But don't use it like this, because all he's going to do is come out with that blade and carve your hand up. You see? Now, they have a blade like this that can be hidden in the belt. Also, there's a new one that they carry a lot, which is just right here. Comes out very quickly here. It's a clip-it type blade. Let me see this. See, it opens here. Very, very fast, very dangerous, incredibly sharp, surgical type steel. This one will really penetrate very deeply. I say the best thing to do is, if you're not comfortable with the person you're around, don't be around them. Keep your red, yellow, green concept alive at all times. If you see somebody coming towards you on the street or somewhere, you don't know them, give them a clear path. Stay around them, stay out of the way, stay in the red, yellow, green areas, and move on. This is very important. If he's coming at me from here, I want to just simply move over here. Wherever I have to move to keep out of his way, that's what I'm going to do. Keep the distance. If you can find a weapon and you see someone pulling one, pick it up. By finding a weapon, I mean if you find a stick, broom handle, something, anything longer than the reach of what he's got. And then you have to also understand, this man is trying to kill you. You should treat him accordingly. Not with compassion, but treat him accordingly. That's going to be the only way you'll survive, stay alive, and go home.
Remember to study principles more closely than exact physical technique. If you want to know more about the 9-dragon concepts, I encourage you to review tapes 1 through 5 in this series. Always use practice weapons and work slowly before attempting to move faster. Be practical, not fancy. This is Captain John Painter saying, thank you for being with me.